I was actually just doing something and it made me think about doing a video for this. There's two things that I think I was going to try to touch on real quick. One's from a movie scene, but also, just what I was calling around. Your mom has a car needs to be worked on. It has a valve cover that needs to be replaced on her engine. And the first thing I was thinking about, there's a scene, y'all will see. I've tried to leave a playlist on my YouTube profile of different things that I found kind of entertaining over the past. It might have been movies I liked, music, things that were motivating, life advice, all kind of stuff that it maybe give y'all a little more insight to me if I can't capture it all in a video. But anyway, one of the movies or one of the scenes that I saved was from this movie called Fences with Denzel Washington. And Denzel Washington, he's one of my favorite actors. Like he is a lot of people. He's a phenomenal actor. But there's a scene in this movie Fences, and some people would disagree with it, but for me, I could feel where a lot of the energy was coming from. But there's a scene where he's interacting with his son, and it's set back in the, I want to say the 50s, or maybe in the 60s. Might have even been before that. I can't remember, but the interaction is pretty much like his son, and I'm really taking a very small snip of it to just illustrate another example. But he is the son is coming outside, and Denzel during those times, people had to be. History to me provides so much context with a lot of things. What is going on at the time, because that kind of influenced the culture, the people, how people interacted, how people acted, talked. It definitely it shapes the context of why people might have interacted with people. It was a very during those times I believe, those people might have come straight out of the Great Depression. Slavery was two or three, generations. Their grandparents might have been slaves. A lot of the social interaction was different. You had to raise children different in an environment where, being too sassy or too outspoken, it could get you killed. So they had to run tight ships, and they didn't have time to be best friends and buddy buddy. They were very mission oriented. I believe I respect it. They were in survival mode. But anyway, the scene goes. It cuts to them, and he's asking his dad. He's like, uh, "Yeah, pops." He's talking about one of the other friends. Is like they got some TV. A brand new TV, and his dad's Denzel's joking. He's like, "How much that TV cost, man?" He's like, "Oh, it costs $200 and something, $260 something or whatever it was." And he's like, "Oh, okay, it's a good scene. Y'all should go see it." And to me, some people, they, "Oh my goodness, he talks to him so mean." But I mean, history, understanding that it can provide a lot of context of what was going on. But anyway, he's telling his son is like, "Man, why don't we go get this TV for 200 something, maybe $260?" I can't remember exactly the number. And he says, "You think we had a?" Denzel's like, "You think we should go get that TV, right?" And Denzel tells his son, he's like, "Look up at that roof right there." And he looks up at the roof and he said, "You see that roof right there? That roof has a leak." He says, "If that leak continues to go down into the room, it's gonna cause mold. If it causes mold, it'll cause all these other issues." Uh, but it was to me a very good scene to show a man and a true responsibility of a father, his responsibility and his priorities. Something that I try to, I want to. I know y'all are very young, and as you all get older, and I think I was through both of my parents was taught is priorities, your values, and being able to prioritize your wants versus your needs and the seriousness of it. That's a lot of people that are financially constantly in binds. They were not able to separate. They weren't able to prioritize things in life sometimes, and that's not always the case. But I've interacted with enough people, and if you get around enough people, you can see a lot of issues stem from people not understanding or being unable to just prioritize basic things. And a lot of times it may be the income you have, but it also has something to do. It's just a mentality. You know, if you're having a car issue, your main concern shouldn't be clothes that you might need or you think you want for a party in 2 weeks. You get me? Like just having those priorities in order. You know, having understanding what holds true value and what needs to be prioritized. And that scene right there, you know, I was like, man, that's a very and he goes on to say some other stuff, you know, that's but I thought that was a good scene to illustrate, you know, his mindset, and I kind of took that on, you know, in our house, you know, trying to, you know, and that's another thing with. Eventually, I would encourage home ownership, and that's another long story. But when you get in a home, you know, everything is on you. You know, as y'all get older, and you know, your vehicles, and this is stuff I was taught, and I wish I could be here with you as y'all get older to guide you through um, and walk you through some of this stuff as I was, and to be able to, you know, just guide you and to show you priorities. And it seems like we live in a generation now where just the priorities are very different, and it's sad to me when you see people that are they have the opportunity to prioritize stuff, but they just it's with social media and all this other stuff. It's the things are just very different now. But I hope you all can keep that understanding of necessities, and you know, if you don't have a car to get to a job to make money, you know, you're gonna have other issues. You know, uh, so just being able to prioritize the needs and like if you can keep that, you everything things will come. You know, they'll go. Things come and go, but being able to prioritize, you know, your bills, prioritize all your needs first. Um, but that scene to me was it was just a very good illustration. And so anyway, the Brittany's her car worked on it. I've always been the type to shop around. This is another tidbit I was telling you all, and I try to. I think that's just you know something I've always did. Anytime it, even right now, when I'm not able to do anything, but I can still call tech or you know figure out stuff, research things, and I've always did that anytime we had issues with our vehicles or house stuff, you know. Uh, but the lesson I want y'all to take away is to shop around. And my helpful suggestion is anytime somebody gives you a price on something, get at least two other prices minimum. If you don't do at least two other, I mean, that's what I would encourage you to do just to be able to see a ballpark range of what people are spitting out to you. But these first people, Bree had, they suggested, you know, she needs her car's, the oil is leaking from the engine. It's a valve gasket that needs to be replaced. And so they also suggested some tune up of the plugs or whatever, and that's cool. And so I was looking at they print out a cost estimate. And of course, a lot of these people, they're going to put the brand new in your car. And it's not always necessary. And they'll jack things up. And so I think their cost estimate was like $650 something right now. I was like, okay, for all these labor parts, all this stuff to get this worked on. And so I just called one person. I've already bumped it down, you know, to I said, well, how much would it be for the valve replacement? I did it separately. And then with taxes, labor, and everything, and he told me 189. That's just for the gasket replacement. And then I said, okay, well, what would it be also if y'all get in there and say, oh, it looks like she needs her plugs and a tune up. And I think that was like 190. It was like $1 more separate. So it's still rounding out to about 400, maybe a little under $400, three something. It's still not $600, you know, what these first people have estimated. So I've called another person. I'm gonna get my third estimate, and then from there I'll make a decision on where I suggest where she needs to go get her car fixed at. But that's just you know, I thought I'd come here and you know try to explain a real life lesson to you. It's okay to shop around. You know, don't feel like it's hurting nobody's feeling. They're used to it. And this is not just with vehicle repairs. It's with cars, research. I think I got that from my mom. You know, we used to go look at and it would be so annoying, I think, at the time that we would go from place to place to place looking at stuff. But at the same time, it's building up a good, um, it's building up your, what I want to say, it's like it's your ability to assess, what's a good range of things, and it's good to not just take someone's first suggestion or first sale on something. See what other people are, and then eventually, make a decision. Don't give yourself so many options where it becomes difficult to make a decision. But that's why I say three is a happy place, to where you can get two or three estimates. That's on big jobs. Car repairs. If you get in a home and you need somebody to, I don't know. It just depends. Try to be articulate enough to give your description over the phone where people can give you somewhat of a rough estimate over the phone where they don't have to come out and do estimates. Sometimes they will, but I find that just try not to take the first sale or suggestion as okay. I gotta have it done because try not to. And then what happens when you get in a need or a in an urgent place, you tend to be think emotionally. You don't make good decisions sometimes. That's why it's best to try to make decisions when you're not in urgency. You can kind of take your time and look around and and shop around and see what's the best, and you can save yourself a couple dollars. I've did it over the years, from vehicle replacement. I've had to have plumbers do some stuff, pipes that have burst outside. Um, Different things. You shop around online. Nothing wrong, man. It's like the old saying to measure twice and cut once. To me, that same concept can be used with researching and when you're getting estimates with things in life. Measure. Don't be. You can keep measuring and measuring until you're like, okay, now I can see. I can get a ballpark figure of what this is gonna cost. But sometimes, like you'll see, some things will be way out of whack. Somebody might suggest a $800 job, and you talk to somebody else, and they say, "Yeah, man, I'll do it for three." It happens, and it just prioritizing and pay attention to the necessities. As young guys, I encourage y'all to pay attention to that. Make sure that your needs are in order first. Don't have nice clothes, but you have a leak in your roof. Like, you gotta. I know the culture that we live in now, the priorities and the values are very backwards, and it's hard to get people to come back to reality. So what has happened is, to me, it's caused some other issues with people thinking they can't live a certain kind of lifestyle. When in reality, man, it's just your priorities are not. They're probably not of your priorities are just they're not constructive to you, and so I just thought about coming on here and shooting that video, kind of shooting this video and telling you those two lessons to shop around when you are looking at things. It can be clothes too as you get older. Just don't take the first sale all the time. Sometimes, and you continue to do this in life, you'll see when an opportunity and comes up, and if it is a good opportunity to hop on it, nothing wrong with that. But sometimes with big jobs, there's nothing wrong with getting estimates. I suggest you do that, and but just keeping your priorities in order. All right, signing off.